Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Akim. It's your brother Rataza Allah from GMS London Camp. First and foremost, we want to give praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone, blessings on the hopeful and sincere elect. Bakhariam, Bakhaya Kodash, the holy elect. Baha'a Rataza in and around the four winds of the earth. More demonization and persecution on the horizons. The time is nigh. 'Tis the seasons, man, for betrayal. And also, salvation, miracles of the Lord, man. The Lord performing these miracles, doing his handiwork, so to speak, and showing who his chosen are in these last days, man. Because Esau, these Edomites, man, they're panicking. They're in panic mode right now, and they're going to stoop to desperate measures, man, because they're losing a grip on society, and the lies that they've been spewing, as it says in the Apocrypha, that the deceit shall be quenched. And the truth is being declared on who the true Jews are, the Israelites, being you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans from the 12 prospective tribes of Israel. And it's also exposing who the wicked are, the man of perdition, the son of perdition, which are the Edomites, the so-called white man, biblically known as the Edomites, spawn of Esau upon the earth. That wicked has been revealed. So they're in desperate, panic mode, stooping to desperate measures, and part of that panic mode is putting out more, austerity, measures, unrighteous decrees to come after the men of the Lord, to so-called quell this word from going out, quench this word from going out. But the word's already gone out, the cat's already out of the bag, and these devils are, in a fight in a lose-lose situation, man, because they could do nothing against the truth but for the truth. But now they're going to start demonizing and putting brothers in a bad light, so to speak, calling us descendants and terrorists, as it says in this article from, Alex Jones' InfoWars website. It says New Zealand goes full 1984. It says tells public to report political descendants as terrorists. So anyone that's not down with the get down, the NWO agenda, they want people to snitch on them, basically, even family members, so on and so forth, man. And that's going to happen. That's why, in this truth, this walk that we're in, the Lord said you got to walk the straight gate in Matthew, the 7th chapter, because wide is the gate that leadeth to destruction, man. And, many people, basically go in that direction, the road to perdition, because they're none the wiser and they don't understand that, we have enemies as a people, man. But, even your own people going to turn against you in these last days, thinking they're going to be doing the right thing by snitching on you to the government, man. So as I said, this is Esau working his magic wand on the people, on the masses, man, to snitch on their own. Basically, anyone that talks about, the small hats and anything of that nature, they're regarded as conspiracy theories, and they should be reported to the government so they can be arrested. So that's in the scriptures, though. The scriptures talk about brothers being hemmed up, put in prisons, and people, basically giving them up, your own family members. That's why the scriptures also say that, your worst enemy is them, your old foes are them of your own household, man. They're your worst enemy, man, especially if they know that, that you're in this truth, pushing his word, as a Hebrew Israelite. The majority of the people in the world, they're going to look at you like you're a terrorist, man, just because you're speaking the words out of the good book. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing illegal about that, man. Because this is our history and our heritage that we're reading about from the good book, the Bible. So it says friends and family members who question the CV mandates, including mandatory vaccines, should be reported to authorities as potential terrorists. So New Zealand government says. So they're using the CV 19er as an excuse to basically put more austerity measures on the people. But this is going to go for anything. This is going to go for if you speak against the small hats, if you're a conspiracy theorist, they just want to lock you up and throw away the key, and they're using that CV19 as a ruse to do so, man. Because Esau's, as I said, he's in panic mode, and they're doing a lot of damage control, because of the truth being coming out over the internet, man. The truth exposing these devils of who they truly are, being the devil that the Bible speaks of, and that they're the wicked and they're not the people that they say they are. They're imposters, man. So this is they're using a C19er as an excuse, but really they're going to be using anything, especially anything that comes out of the scriptures, to say people are descendants and they should be locked up, man. It's that Big Brother Orwellian society, 1984, George Orwell's, 1984 scenario, all the abkeo that they're trying to push, man. So, brothers got to, stay on point and keep your eyes peeled and keep watching and praying, man, because these devils are definitely on a tirade, or on a wrath tirade, and they're gonna start coming to question the men of the Lord personally, man. This is the news, and this is happening in New Zealand, so it's gonna spread over here to the Americas and worldwide, all over the West and all that, and over here in the UK. So this is New Zealand Security Intelligence Service put out a bulletin stating that anyone with descendant political views says has been radicalized, basically brainwashed, and says, and asks the public to report their friends and family members if they question the government's narratives. See, so they want you to snitch, man. They want you to get snitch on your own family members to get them locked up because they don't agree with the wickedness that the governments are doing. Basically telling people to take them poisonous injections, which people are having them sudden death um, uh, prognosis and situations. People just dropping dead all of a sudden 2 years later from taking them booster shots, because that's what these devils wanted to happen in the first place. They're saying it's a sudden death scenario. That's part of what they wanted in the first place, the people to start dropping dead. If you say anything against that, basically now you've been radicalized, even though it's happening right before your eyes. So it could be the COVID measures the government took, or it could be other policies that are interrupting and infringing on rights. Yeah, like, anti-Sem this and anti-Sem that. That's why they're trying to use that as a ruse, man, as well. They're going to use that as a ploy to come after, people that speak against these small hats, man. They're going to say it's hate crimes and it's anti-this and anti-that. And that's why they're trying to, put more reports in the news now of so-called attacks on the small hats and all that, in the Americas and which is BS, man. But they're going to use that as an excuse to protect the small hats and to persecute people speaking against them, mainly you tribes, man. And especially if you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite. So the time of persecution and demonization is definitely on the horizons, man. So brothers better be aware, man. Let's look, stay sharp, and stay spiritual, man. No matter what happens, man, because it's a bittersweet end. But it says, and it's sometimes what I describe as a hot mess of ideologies and beliefs fueled by conspiracy theories. So if you're a conspiracy theorist, you've been radicalized and you're a terrorist now, man. Even if you ain't got no, so-called weapons of mass destruction to destroy anything, to destroy peoples, you're still labeled as a terrorist, which is BS, man. So they don't even want you to have your own mind and have your own thoughts anymore, man. They want you to be straight up controlled cyborg warriors for their new world order, and not to question anything. The straight up bots. It says intelligence chief Rebecca Kittredge told media. So this is from Count Dankula. Says, remember how I said that government legislation created to allegedly to protect you will eventually be twisted to protecting government from you. New Zealand are approaching the mask off part. The Wall Street Silver says New Zealand has gone full police state. Anyone with a different POV, point of view, is an enemy. Yeah, you're going to be an enemy combatant, enemy of the state, a descendant, and you're going to be a target. New Zealand government booklets being released telling the public if they suspect their friends and family opposing government policies about the CV measures, they should be reported as terrorists. So this is straight up war on the peoples, man. This is definitely coming to the shores of America. There's going to be a war on the American citizen, man. Ain't going to be no outside war, foreign relations or foreign invaders. The war's going to be on you American citizens and British citizens, man, from your own damn governments, because this white man's the devil. As it tells you in Isaiah the 10th chapter, they push unrighteous decrees, So this is the time that we're in. The sword has been sharpened, man, and we've been telling you that this devil's going to reveal them horns. That's in Revelations 12:12. He's about to come down with great wrath because he knows that you have but a short time, man. They're in panic mode right now. They're stooping to desperate measures because they know they ain't got a lot of time left. But it's in the scriptures. The Lord even spoke about this, because this happened in times past before, and it's going to happen again. You know, you're gonna have people that's gonna betray the brotherhood and all that, and snitch on their own brethren. Family members gonna be snitching on their own, you know, other family members, and getting them hemmed up just because they don't want to, you know, be a bot for the government, man. This is Matthew 10. And they show you in that movie, you know, with this guy, Equilibrium, man. You know, Christian Bell, his son, you know, basically ratted on his mother, and she got arrested and she got put to death, man, because she didn't want to, you know, get down with the get down anymore, and take them, you know, them pills that make you, you know, spiritually dead, you know, and make you a bot for the government. She didn't want. She was a descendant, basically. They called it feeling, you know, and her own son got hemmed up in the movie, and she got put to death, you know. And then later on in the movie, the son was going to do it to the father, but then, you know, he stopped, you know, so-called taking the medication himself, you know. So, and then they both came to the realization that they was being, you know, manipulated by the government. And then the rest of the movie, you know, you brothers can watch it if you haven't watched it already, you know, unfolds, and, you know, it shows you the sedition amongst the government at that time. Because this is what they want. They want the totalitarian government, a straight up austerity, a dystopian state type rulership, man. This is what these devils want, you know, and they're going to do it through all these order ab chaos scenarios. So that's why brothers need to be aware of what they're doing, what they're saying on camera, you know, be more mindful of what they're saying, and basically just stay spiritual, man. Don't be out there, you know, portraying yourself like a black militia with bulletproof vests and, you know, armory and all that stuff, weapons and all that stuff. Because we're not you know, a physical carnal group. We're a spiritual group, man. This is a spiritual war. Ephesians 6:12 tells you, man. You know, but this is Matthew 10:16 anyway. This is the word of Yahweh Shai. It says, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpent and harmless as doves." Yeah, so being wise as a serpent and harmless as doves is basically knowing what you're doing when you're out there on the highways and hedges, man. And staying spiritual, man. Don't be getting carnal, you know, and get yourselves into situations that you can't get yourself out of because you're not thinking spiritually, you know. Don't be out there, you know, flaunting yourself like it's some, you know, military group going to war against the government when, you know, that's going to get you hemmed up. And when you're speaking about certain subjects, especially the small hats, you got to be mindful, you know, of your surroundings and who's around you, man. And don't be chasing these small hats as well down the street, you know, calling them names like Apostle Elder Tahar was saying in the previous few days ago. You know, you got to be mindful because these devils don't use, you know, your words against you, basically, and try and get you hemmed up, you know. So we just got to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves, you know, stay spiritual, basically. Just teach this word and what we've been taught to teach. It says, "But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues." Yeah, so you got, you know, so-called brethren in this truth that's going to betray other brethren, man. You know, that's sincere and true, and lead them to get arrested and taken up and delivered into councils and to be scourged in, you know, the modern day synagogues. We're talking about these prisons, man. They're going to be getting brothers arrested and brought before their courts of these devils, these judges, man. You know, to be charged with all kinds of acts of sedition and all this other shit, man. You know, basically to go to jail. But you know, as the scripture said, you got to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove, and you got to be wary of certain brethren as well, man. The scriptures talk about putting out your trust in every brother. You know, that's why you always got to watch who's around you. You know, watch what you're saying and watch what other brothers are saying around you, man, and what they're doing. You know, making sure they're staying on point and staying in the scriptures, man. And it says, "And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles." So we're going to be brought before these judges and these courts and all that, man, the Old Bailey and all that. And they're going to treat you as a terrorist. You know, as it says in that article in New Zealand, that's what they're doing right now. And it's going to happen, man, because this is part of Esau's NWO agenda, man. You know, you're trying to get rid of the undesirables, man. You know, and all that. But they're the real undesirables. The Lord's going to do away with these devils when it's all said and done, man. You know, it says, but when they deliver you up, take no thought of what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. So if you do get in that situation of being arrested, don't worry about it, man. Stay spiritual and let the Lord do his work. Because the Lord going to use you as he's been using you as a vessel of righteousness, and he's going to speak through you in that time. So you don't even have to think about what you're going to say to these devils before they're judges and all that. The Lord going to be speaking through you in that day. You just got to stay in the spirit, man, and pray. So for it is not ye that speak, but the spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. Yeah. It says, and the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents, like they show you in that movie Equilibrium, and cause them to be put to death. So this is what's happening right now. This is what they're pushing over there in New Zealand right now, for family members to snitch on other family members, especially if if they know that you're in this truth. But that's why I said your biggest enemies this day is your own household, man. So brothers, you just got to stay on the straight gate and be concerned about yourself and not your family members, man, because they're potential agents, like in the Matrix, man. Anyone that's still stuck in the Matrix is still a potential agent, Mr. Smith and all that, Smithers and all that, man. So they're likely to snitch on you and get you hemmed up, because they're none the wiser what we're actually fighting out here. They don't understand that we're actually fighting against, a spiritual warfare, Ephesians 6:12, man, against spiritual wickedness in high places, man, against principalities, and these people are possessed out here, so they're going to be thinking they're doing the righteous thing, and really they're getting the men of the Lord hemmed up in wickedness, man, for doing the right thing. But the Lord said, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and hate you, for doing the Lord's work, basically. It says, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. It says, but he that endureth unto the end shall be saved. Yes, so it's part of that fiery trial. The brothers just got, endure unto the end. And the Lord the Lord said, he that's faithful unto death shall receive a crown, man. So don't be disheartened and discouraged if you do get hemmed up by the police, for a witness to this testimony, this word, because that's just part of the war scars and the blessings that the Lord's gonna bless you, in the end with, man. You're gonna get a great reward, for being persecuted for righteousness, man, which is the kingdom of heaven. It says, but when they persecute you in the city, flee into another. For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man have come. Son of Man be come. The disciple's not above his master, nor the servant above his hand, his Lord. Yeah, because this is what happened to the Lord. He got hemmed up and arrested and false accused by his own people, man. The wicked scribes and Sadducees, they smote him, they buffeted him, the wicked scribes and, Pharisees like Caiaphas and all that. They buffeted the Lord, they hit him, they spat on him, they ridiculed him before the public, and they false accused him, man. When all he did was come to, spread the gospel, the good news to his people that salvation's coming, man, in the near coming future, which we're coming to that now. Same thing that we're pushing, this message of, salvation for the children of Israel, and our enemies being, going into slavery. But yet, 2/3 of our people, they don't want to hear that message. They want to hear smooth things, man. So even our own people are the ones that are really the ones that's going to get brothers hemmed up, not necessarily the other nations. It's more or less our own people, man, just like they did to the Lord and the disciples back then, them that killeth the prophets and all that, So this is the time of the persecution, man. So brothers got to stay on point and remember what we're in this fight for, man, what we're fighting for. Remember what you came into this truth for, what you was brought into this truth for, man. Many are called, but few are chosen. But if you're part of the Lord's elect, you go and endure unto the end, no matter what happens, man. And we're not to fear Esau, we're to fear the Most High. Like it tells you in this 28th verse, Matthew 10:28 says, and fear not them which kill the body. So don't fear this devil, man, Esau, if he has you hemmed up. So, and he might put you in a concentration camp for a short amount of time, whatever. Don't fear this devil, man. Fear Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, because he's the one that can deliver you from anything, and he's the one that's putting you through this in the first place, to try you and test your faith. It says, and fear not them that kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. It says, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. And that's Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, the king of terrors, man. He's the one you need to fear, And this is Ezekiel 21, because that sword has been sharpened, and all these austerity measures, man. So that there's going to be a great slaughter very soon. In the modern day capital punishment in the last days is going to be beheadings, man. As it tells you in Revelation 20:4, there's going to be men that's going to be getting beheaded, made martyrs for the witness of this testimony, of this truth. But yet and still, them men are going to still be delivered and they're going to be beamed up in the ships when Yahweh Shai returns, man. They're going to be up there with the Lord first before anyone else gets beamed up, man. So, as I said, they're going to receive that crown of life. You just got to stay faithful, man, until the end. It says Ezekiel 21:9. It says, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord, a sword, say a sword. A sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. So the start of 2023, the sore slaughter could begin, man. Who knows, man? We're still gonna be in the dead of winter. It's gonna be a dark winter anyway, because things are popping off in regards to economy wise and financially and so on and so forth. So things are about to take turn for a turn for the worse. Famines and all of that, food shortages, people striking and all that, sedition amongst men, race riots. So things are gonna definitely get bad out here from 2023. Lord's will, there'll be the end of this place, man. The last year that we're here in Babylon the Great. It says it is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. So should we then make mirth? So what spirit should you be in, man? And knowing that these things are going to come to pass, what manner of person you ought to be. In all holy conversation, man. And what mindset should you have? Should you be in the spirit of mirthdom, going out in that party and bullshit spirit, or should you be in the house of mourning instead of the house of mirth? They need to be serious, man. More prudent than ever. It says, should we then make mirth and temeth the rod of my son as every tree? And it says, and ye have given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. It says, this sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer. Yeah, so the Lord's going to let Esau, Edom, get 2/3 of our own people, man. He's going to let him get 2/3 of you niggas, Latinos and Native Americans. He's going to let them tear you niggas apart, man, because you're none the wiser. You err in understanding, and you're rebellious against this truth, against this word. You mocked against this word. You scorned and scoffed. You didn't want to repent, and return to the Lord. So the Lord's going to let Esau tear 2/3 of his own people apart, man. He's only concerned with the elect. He's not concerned in how the ungodly perish, man, because they're going to come back through the elect anyway in the kingdom to come, reincarnation. So verse 12, it says, crying, how, son of man, for it shall be upon my people. It says, it shall be upon all the princes of Israel. Terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. Smite therefore upon thy thigh. So persecution is coming, man. More demonization and terrors by reason of the sword. There's going to be a great slaughter in Israel, man. 2/3 are going to get put out of their misery. And it's all orchestrated and ordained by Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And the austerity measures that Esau's pushing right now, labeling people as terrorists just because they have a fault against the government and their wicked shenanigans. They're going to be labeled conspiracy theorists and terrorists, man. So you already know the famine of the words coming. So it ain't going to be too much longer. You're going to be seeing the brothers out there in the highways and byways because Esau's going to be locking down, man. They'll be quarantining the streets and all of that. Martial law, all these type of things is coming, man. Jacob's trouble. So you better get this word while the getting is good, man. While the Most High is still available, because when the doors of mercy are closed, that's it. The doors of judgment are going to be open, and that's going to be bloody and gory out here. So we're in some biblical times, man, most definitely. But we still got to have hope and faith. And the light at the end of the tunnel is Yahweh Shai, and he's going to come and deliver his elect at the end of this, man. We just got to endure. So pray for endurance, man. Me myself as well. We got to pray to endure, man. Pray for strength, spiritual strength, to endure whatever we have to go through, and Lord's will be of the hopeful elect, Abba Ratazar, man. But 2023, it's gonna be a hell of a year, man. You can feel it in the air, man. Something crazy is about to happen. The shit's about to, hit a new height, a new level, of death out here, man. Judgment. So, as I said, man, brothers, watch and pray, man. Including myself. Anyway, give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bachakodash, and hopefully, brothers, is edifying and shalom to the elect.